Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Second Take. It is a very special episode for us, episode 52, meaning we have been in the game for 52 weeks. If you know math, you know 52 weeks means 1 year. 1 year of Second Take. It's been a really great experience. I give Jill a lot of trouble. We bicker, we argue, but I enjoy her presence like 10% of the time. So that counts for something. That's 5.2 episodes I've liked her. So yeah, hi Jill. How are you?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's just crazy. I came to you with this idea like, hey, let's get on Google Hangouts and have a show, and you were like, okay. And now here we are a year later. Look how far we've come. Great.
And we just have further to go. So for this episode, we decided we would like to cover the best and worst moments of sports in our first year of doing Second Take. We'll be covering the NFL, MLB, NBA, college basketball, and college football, the sports that we talk about normally. I will allow Jill to go first, so please do us the honors.
Okay, so I'm going to start with college football. The best moment in college football was Cardale Jones in the Big Ten championship game where the third string quarterback, came in, first start of his college career, and beat Wisconsin. I mean, it was an amazing game, and just a Cinderella story. My worst would be Texas football. We can include last season, carry on to this season. No specific moment, just as a whole, collective letdown, just worst all around. But if we do want to pick one game, and it's through 4 interceptions. But hey, that's just being nitpicky.
Hey, it's okay. Maybe you guys will do better next season. We're all hoping for that. If I had to give my best moment for college football, it will be similar to Jill's. It's not one moment. It's the entire season for the Ohio State Buckeyes. They started off with very disappointing news with Braxton Miller not being able to play for the entire season. Went through the season with J.T. Barrett, who did very well for them. Obviously, got them a winning record, led them to the college football playoffs. Then in the Big Ten championship, this third-string guy, Cardale Jones, comes in, plays very well. They win the Big Ten championship. He plays in their first round of the college football playoffs against Alabama, wins that game, leads them to a national championship, and wins a national championship in just amazing fashion. For a guy who played 3 games in his career there, they were all big games, and he won them all, and he played very, very well in them. So, I mean, Ohio State has a lot to look forward to next season with 3 quarterbacks, but great for them. And for the worst moment of the year, it would have to be Florida State's embarrassing loss to Oregon in the first round of the college football playoffs. A lot of people, with the exception of Jill, thought that they would go all the way and win the national championship, and they just got completely obliterated by Oregon. It was very embarrassing. There were about 50,000 memes made about Jameis Winston, the ghost tackle where he fell but no one touched him, his coach yelling at him on the sideline. It was kind of funny, pretty embarrassing, but pretty funny as well. Hopefully Florida State can get it together, but those are my moments.
Oh, I mean, seeing Jameis Winston go down was probably one of my favorite moments. But hey, I'm going to go to NFL. My best moment, I got to do one for my boy Odell Beckham Jr. That catch, the catch. Nothing else needs to be said. It's just the catch, and that is the best moment. My worst is going to be Pete Carroll's call. The last play with 24 seconds left in the Super Bowl. He decides to throw the ball. It gets intercepted. That call is just the worst in the whole year. Just the worst.
If I had to go with my best moments for the NFL, I'd have to be Johnny Manziel's first NFL touchdown against the Buffalo Bills.
Joking. Please. That's a joke. You're literally kidding right now, right?
Of course I'm kidding. It's top 2 for me. But number 1 would have to be the Seahawks comeback victory against the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship. 44 seconds. They put up 2 touchdowns. They were down 19-7, went up 22-19, went into overtime, obviously through the game. Russell Wilson threw the game-winning touchdown. It was phenomenal by them. I mean, granted, the Green Bay Packers made a lot of mistakes that put the Seahawks in the position to come back and win that game. They still had to make things happen on their own. So great for them. Worst moments. I also agree that Pete Carroll's. Well, I don't know if it was his play calling. I'm gonna go with it being on him that play was called. That threw the Super Bowl for them. But also the way the NFL authorities just handled a lot of different situations this year. Josh Gordon nearly being banned for a year for marijuana possession. Then Ray Rice getting 2 games for assaulting a woman. And I mean, Jill and I have had debates about that, and my opinion was a little different. But the fact is, weed 1 year, a woman being hit 2 games. I mean, granted, Ray Rice was later released, didn't play for the rest of the season. But still, I just feel like the NFL authorities are horrible this year. The Adrian Peterson situation, it was just a very chaotic season for the NFL authorities. And just from my sake and Joe's sake and everyone's sake as NFL fans, we hope that the authorities can handle the sport better so we can go back to enjoying the sport. All these penalties, all these new rules, it's been crazy. So yeah, that's my worst moment for the year.
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, they need to do some work in the off season. They need to say we're zero tolerance, we're zero tolerating everything, because like I said, smoking weed is legal, but so is domestic abuse. So they should both get the same penalty. Be gone. Josh Gordon is actually banned all of next season. He is suspended because he tested positive for alcohol, which is part of his suspension deal, that he cannot drink alcohol anymore, and he did, so he's out. And since you said your second favorite moment, I'm going to say mine was Johnny Manziel sucking and being the player I knew he would be, which is horrible. And, I just loved it. And now he's in a treatment facility, which is a fancy way of saying rehab. So have fun, Johnny. Have fun.
Trying to better himself, okay?
Oh, please. He got sent there because all of his teammates complain about him.
Just go on.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, what sport should I do now? I'm going to do basketball. This one's hard for me, but my best moment of the past year in the NBA would have to be Damian Lillard's last-second shot to beat the Rockets in the playoffs, even though I didn't want to see the Rockets go down. Real recognize real. Got to give credit where credit is due, and Damian Lillard is where credit is due. And a side note, he's now going to be in the All-Star game because everybody's getting hurt. So Damian Lillard finally going to be in the All-Star game. My worst, I'd probably say the past 2 seasons of the Lakers. Again, just like Texas, there's no specific event, just the Lakers.
That's fair. My best moment would have to be Kevin Durant winning the MVP. He came into the league to a bad Seattle Sonics team, which later became the Oklahoma City Thunder. People never thought they'd be good. They became one of the best teams in the West. Everyone gave Kevin Durant trouble. You're not LeBron James. You're not Kobe. He won 3 scoring titles. They were like, Kevin Durant's still not sold on him. Came and won the MVP last season. Gave a phenomenal speech. Definitely one of the best speeches in sports history, in my opinion. I am biased towards KD, but I mean, just as a sports fan, to hear a guy be so humble compared to other players who could clearly say, "Oh, I did this. This is all me. I'm the reason I'm the MVP." Kevin Durant gave credit to everyone on his team, his mother, the coaches, the coaching staff, the people who held first aid kits and poured Gatorade bottles. Kevin Durant thanked them all. So, that was great for me. A worst moment would have to be the Knicks season in general this year. It's appalling. It's horrible basketball. I mean, a couple of years ago, as I've said this multiple times, everyone was so hype about the Knicks. They're going to be the team to knock the heat off and go to the championship, and they didn't do it, and they've just gotten worse and worse this year. But also tied with that is Miami Heat losing the finals last year to the Spurs in pretty embarrassing fashion. They lost in 5 games. They went into this series very cocky after they beat the Spurs last season. Basically steamrolled to the playoffs with the Pacers series, went to 7, but they ended up winning that. But then they got to San Antonio, and they just looked awful. LeBron James, game 1, I know no one's ever going to forget him walking off the court and then getting back on and passing out and having to be carried and just looking like he was going to cry. It was very embarrassing. So that would have to be my worst moment. That's
funny because that's one of my best. But, hey, we're all different. And as far as KD goes, yes. And that speech, just yes again. Fun fact for you, in the new Texas basketball intro video, they use KD's speech in the background. It's pretty. It really gets you going for Texas basketball, and we're very proud of our KD. Speaking of that, I'm going to move on to college basketball. This happened last week, but and I shouldn't say this is the best moment, but Texas played Oklahoma State at Texas, and Oklahoma State's LeBron Nash had a DeAndre Jordan-style dunk over Texas's DeMarcus Holland, and it was incredible. And, if this had been at Oklahoma State, the arena would have fallen down. That's how good this dunk was. But instead, Texas fans just go and are silent. And, yeah, but got to give credit where credit's due once again. And the worst moment in college basketball would probably be Syracuse's undefeated streak, and then all of a sudden just losing it all. I mean, collapsing towards the end of the season. I picked them to win it all, and they won nothing. They didn't even kind of win anything. They just fell apart.
If I had to go with my best moment for college basketball, it would have to be, even though I give Syracuse a lot of trouble, I will always give them trouble, Jabari Parker's amazing half-court buzzer beater to defeat UConn, I believe. Great shot. People make that shot 1 in every 50, 1 in every 100 times, but it happened. It was great. Also, Wichita State going undefeated, just because Wichita State's not really a big-name school. To go and win every game, not lose any. It's a feat that should always be recognized, regardless of whether you're in the SEC or if you're in the MAC or whatever. Worst moment would have to be Duke getting knocked out in the first round, really because that just screwed my bracket because I had them going all the way. Should have known it was Duke. They got knocked out in the first round by Lehigh a couple years ago. But I went with them anyways, and they just totally embarrassed me. So that's that.
What is with you and Duke? It's kind of weird. I'll move on to MLB. Best moment, just the whole Jeter send-off, but mainly his last game against the Red Sox where he hit he got a score. I mean, he won the game for the Yankees, and it was just a perfect end to a perfect career for the greatest person. So, love you, Jeter. I still miss you. And my worst, and I hate to admit this because I talked so much about how great Yasiel Puig was going to do in the home run derby. Then he gets there, and he sucks. So he literally didn't hit any balls. So that's the worst because I talked a lot of game before that.
Yeah, you sure did, and it was very fun to rub it in your face. My best moment for baseball would have to be the San Francisco Giants winning their 3rd World Series in 5 years. They started off the 2010 10-year period with the World Series, won again in 2012, won last year 2014. Clearly they go on, one off. So, I mean, if that's the case, they could end up with 5 or 6 World Series in this 10-year period, which would be great for them. They did lose Pablo Sandoval to the Red Sox, but they still got Madison Bumgarner. They still got Buster Posey. So, I mean, it's looking good for the San Francisco Giants. And my worst moment would have to be, as a Yankee fan, this past season, the last season, the season before that. Every season since we won in 2009, it's been very hard to be a Yankee fan. We've seen so many great players come and go. We've made no moves in the offseason, but A-Rod might be back, so there's hope for us.
Oh my God! Yay, A-Rod. Yeah, you can add next season to this list too, because by the way these lack of moves are going, this is just dandy for us. We do need to talk about Syracuse. Just a little update on news. They issued a self-imposed ban on the postseason. So they will not be in the tournament. They won't be doing anything. This is after, they're still under NCAA investigation, and this is their way of jumping the gun on it, I guess, getting ahead of the scandal. But this won't do anything because if the NCAA finds them guilty of anything, they're going to just have more bans. So I guess this was a smart decision in a way, but it's not a coincidence that they picked a season to impose this ban on themselves that was a subpar season for them. It's not like they did this last year.
Literally took all the words out of my mouth. But, it's been a bad season for them, as you said. Hopefully they can get things together because even though I give them a lot of trouble, you got to love watching good basketball. And Syracuse normally gives you good college basketball. They're one of the top teams in the country every season. So it's pretty rough to see them doing so bad so far. Hopefully this ban and the off-season, their recruits can bring in better people and do better and rise to prominence again. But we shall see. I believe that is all from me and Jill for this episode of Second Take. We want to thank you guys for sticking with us for a year. I know it's hard to hear Jill's voice every week. Just kidding. Jill's awesome. But I know you guys missed me the 7 weeks I was gone. So, feel free to, on the Facebook page, to comment with your favorite Armand moment of Second Take.
Please. No, just your favorite Second Take moment of the past year. We would love to hear it. And I know it's going to be probably one of my great Johnny Manziel debates, or when I shut down Armand and Anthony about Michael Jordan. That was fun, too. I had y'all silent. So I know that's one of your favorite moments. So please, we really want to know what y'all liked. If you want to be mean, you can tell us what you didn't like, I guess. But sure, we accept criticism. Tell us what you didn't like.
Yeah,
Okay.
and for everyone who says their favorite moment was when I got knocked out of Around the Horn first, I will be personally blocking you from our Facebook page. So do not comment that, Jill. That includes you. If you comment that, you'll be blocked as well.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I know your favorite moment is going to be me, and your least favorite moment is just going to be Armand. So if that's the case, just say it. I mean, we're totally open to it.
Yes, this is a safe space. But no, seriously, thank you guys for sticking with us. We'll be here next week. We'll be here for the next year. Well, I don't know how long we'll be here, but you guys will be stuck with us for as long as we are around. And I cannot speak anymore, so I'm going to end the episode now. Thank you. Have a great week.